President Donald Trump is promising that America will dominate crypto. So, what does this mean for the future of the industry and the country? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
For the first time in history, a sitting U.S. president addressed a crypto conference. In recorded remarks played at Blockworks Digital Asset Summit, President Donald Trump vowed that the United States would dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. He highlighted recent White House meetings with crypto industry leaders and his executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He also criticized regulators in the Biden-Harris administration of using government power to stifle the industry. Take a look.
We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common-sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep.
For more, I'm joined by Les Persay, the co-founder of Wave Digital Assets. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Veronica.
So first, let's begin with how significant is it that a sitting U.S. president addressed a major crypto conference like the Digital Asset Summit?
I think it's unheard of, and it speaks volumes what this president continues to do and show. It strengthens the confidence in the market. When we started our company, the regulatory processes were incredibly difficult. We didn't really have a lot of guidelines to follow, so we tried to do the best we could. This is completely different, and the concerns he talks about with innovation, we want to keep innovation in this country, and this administration is helping do that.
Now, what are some of the key takeaways from President Trump's remarks on the future of crypto in the United States?
I think the key remarks are, the Bitcoin reserve is something that is very high on the agenda, digital currency stockpile. I think this is an administration that wants to make America the leader in cryptocurrency. This is an administration that has dug in, with David Sachs and Bo Hines. These are very knowledgeable people that come from a background, in the case of David, he comes from a Silicon Valley background. And in the case of Bo, he was, very educated at Yale and became a lawyer that really focused on crypto in the early years. So I think what we're seeing is actually a plan from this administration, where the last one didn't have a plan. So, crypto is a big, wide space. So there's lots of angles to cover, but I think at the end of the day, it's an asset class that really brings a lot of value back to the American people.
Now, maybe for some people who aren't exactly up to speed on all of this, can you explain the purpose of the strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile that President Trump mentioned?
Yeah. So with the Bitcoin reserve in particular, a reserve is something where you hold assets. We see that with things like gold. It's, you hear a lot of talk about Fort Knox. I think what this administration has been frustrated with is there wasn't a lot of thought process from the last administration on what these assets were and how to hold them. So just think of it like putting it into some sort of fund and holding them and letting them appreciate in value. I think when we think more of a digital stockpile can be used for more immediate needs. Now, I'm not 100% sure this is what they're doing, but that's the definition of a stockpile. The thing that's more fascinating about the alternative currencies that will go into a stockpile is the fact that there are also American companies behind these digital currencies. So when we talk about innovation, think about American companies not just launching these protocols with tokens, but other people being able to develop and build on them to create these economies with these tokens. That's what's so exciting. And then as we start to put those tokens also in a reserve kind of vehicle, theoretically, they should appreciate in value, become more institutional, as you see with TradFi getting into the space.
Now, we also see that there is a lot in terms of regulation. What role do you think Congress might play in shaping the future of stablecoins and broader crypto regulations?
Well, I mean, I think we already see Senator Lummis getting incredibly involved. Senator Lummis, has really been pushing for the Bitcoin reserve. She has a bill out with purchasing Bitcoin. She also has a lot of criticism of the U.S. Marshal Service right now in their handling of the Bitcoin. But we're seeing a lot of Congress jump on board right now. What's going to be really interesting is I believe there's 27 states that also have legislation for Bitcoin or digital currency reserves. And those are all brought by different members of Congress. And really, what we're talking about here is a state being able to use their fund to purchase the assets, which will require legislation, or a state or the federal government using the seized currencies they already have. That's one of the big distinctions on where it comes from. And I think Congress will play a bigger role in the purchasing of these assets.
How are industry leaders reacting to Trump's pro-crypto stance?
Well, I think very well. I think when we take a look at BlackRock and Larry Fink and a lot of the traditional finance guys, they're feeling more of a sense of comfort because there is regulatory guidelines now. In the past, there were none. So, when we think about things like being debanked and all of the risks, a lot of the major companies wouldn't touch this asset class. They didn't believe it. And I see a shift in that right now. The other thing that's really great is a lot of the crypto leaders. You see guys like Brad Garlinghouse who are actively involved, Brian Armstrong from CoinDesk, feeling like they can do the things that they want to do to accomplish a lot of innovation with their companies. And keep in mind, these guys were business leaders with other big companies before they ever got into the digital currency space. So I think what we're seeing is a convergence of business leaders, in traditional finance and crypto get together.
Now, what are the potential economic and geopolitical implications of the U.S. aiming to dominate crypto and financial technology?
I mean, it's a good thing if you're living in the U.S. The funny thing about what the world looks like right now is, as we've kind of really talked about this Bitcoin reserve, you see other countries coming into that conversation. And I've been fortunate to really go to a lot of other countries. I was at the United Nations recently at a conference with Europol talking about digital currencies. And I think what we're seeing is a curve in education happening right now. But what this administration is doing is really pushing the envelope in speed. So we're going to see other countries catch up. And to be honest with you, before this administration got here, I was in this business for, we founded the company. I've been in about a decade. And more has happened in the last month with this president than the decade I was in the business. So I think that message is, definitely going to help the underlying values and the adoption of these currencies. And I think, this currency has always been a global currency. So that was kind of the real magic of it, having a true global currency.
Les Bourset from Wave Digital Assets, thank you so much for spending the time to talk to us about this address and really the future of the crypto industry here in the United States and abroad.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.